Okay, welcome. Welcome to the, Spotting Scams and Avoiding Fraud seminar. My name is John Blake, Vice President of Retail Banking. We have with us some great customers and community members to learn the secrets of spotting fraud. We also have with us our CEO and President, Deb Stephenson. You want to step up and say a quick hello?
Well, I want to personally welcome you, and we're glad that you're here today to learn about everything that John's going to be talking about, because it's important. These scams seem to be getting worse and worse and worse, so it's always good to stay ahead of it all, and we're happy to be able to put this on today, and we're very happy that you're here. So welcome, and I will let John take it away.
All right, thanks very much. So a lot of what I'm going to go through is probably nothing you haven't heard about on the news recently. We're going to go through the top types of scams that are out there, but each one really just scratches the surface. Understand that there's dozens of variations of every one of the things I'm going to talk about. So let me just get started by kind of flashing this graphic here. This gives you some examples of pop-ups that you might encounter on a tech support scam. That's the first scam we're going to talk about tonight. And that's typically a computer-based scam where you're on a website and suddenly there's a pop-up window. And that pop-up window is going to be alarmist. It's going to scare you. It's going to tell you, warning, there's a virus. You have to call this number. Or this is the IRS, your computer's being seized, some kind of scary message. The pop-up itself is the first lie. There is no virus. All you have is a pop-up window that's asking you to call a number. So that's the tech support scam, and there's some good examples, and you folks can take this with you when you leave. Yes?
Quick question. How does the pop-up window get on your computer?
Well, it depends on the website you're on. So I know in my experience, when I've encountered things like this is when I'm looking for a live sporting event that I don't have access to through legal means. And I'll be on nefarious websites, basically. And, they're driven by all kinds of ad revenue, and they don't say no to anybody. So you'll see pop-ups. Sometimes you'll see an ad for a deal that's too good to be true, and you end up on a website that's not a legitimate shopping website, and that's where you might encounter these type of pop-ups. Not on your traditional Walmart.com and whatnot, but lesser known websites. These type of ads are all over the place. So that's the kind of thing you want to watch out for. So the top bullet points I'll give you on tech support scams. They're impersonating legitimate companies. So they're claiming to be Google, they're claiming to be McAfee, like an antivirus company, or Microsoft. They tend to be the big tech kind of companies or tech support type of companies. That's the things you're going to see. It'll be unsolicited contact. So that pop-up, you didn't ask to go to this McAfee website or talk to a Microsoft rep. You had an ad that pushed you towards it. So that's the other thing to look out for. There's an urgency in fear tactics. There's always going to be some kind of urgent need to call right away. Your files are in danger, your money's in danger, that type of thing. And then once they have you, they're going to ask for remote access to your computer. That's the next step in that scam. Once they get you on the phone and have you engaged verbally, that's where the real manipulation begins, and they're going to try to get in, and then they will start stealing personal information. So if you don't fall for that first step, that's the biggest win right there. It's not always computer-based, this type of scam. It could be a phone call you receive just randomly. Hey, this is Microsoft, this is your bank, that type of thing. So that's going to lead to the next big category, imposter scams.
One more question.
Yes.
If you get a pop-up on your computer like that, what do you do?
Close it.
Close it? Ignore it?
Just close it. Question the website you were on. Get away from that website. If you're getting those type of pop-ups, you're not really on a good, friendly website. You're on a site that's looking for clicks, looking for clickbait, and you probably need to move on. Yeah, good questions. So leading into imposter scams, These are impersonating trusted figures, whether they're government officials, law enforcement, family members, or even financial institutions such as your bank. Again, there's going to be a fake emergency, a false sense of urgency, a request for money, wire transfers, gift cards, or untraceable methods. So imposter scams is a very broad category, and this can come through the phone. Generally, these start with a phone call or a text. And even, snail mail is still a tool that is used. People will get letters saying, this is, the IRS, you need to settle a debt, and they get you on the phone. The main thing is to get you, they want you to engage with them on the phone so that they can scare the heck out of you. And once they do that, then there's the request for some kind of money to get you out of the trouble. And then that's where it gets really shady. But usually, people are so emotionally invested after 2 hours on the phone, they don't question the weird payment methods. Oh, we need you to send us gift cards. Go buy gift cards at CVS and give us the gift card numbers. And people do it because after a few hours, they're so worked up and so invested emotionally that they do it. They send money. We've seen customers fall victim to this. When somebody's calling you unsolicited, they can even spoof phone numbers. So the phone number could say, the caller ID might say IRS. It might say Brattleboro Savings and Loan.
You're right. I had a call like that. They left a voicemail at our house, and they claimed to be the IRS. And Officer Gonzalez said, "We're coming to your house to arrest you." And I was like, "Oh, really?" But that could scare some people.
That could scare somebody, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's amazing what's out there. Windham County Sheriff's Office had an alert last September about somebody calling around claiming to be a deputy with the Sheriff's Department and, trying to scam people out of cash. And they had to put out their own alert to say that this had nothing to do with them. So yeah, yep.
Can you tell the story of the grandson who got in trouble in New York City at a wedding? Can you tell that story?
The grandson who got in trouble at a wedding, I'm not sure the specifics, but it sounds like a grandparent scam.
Yep.
A fake grandson. Yeah, I'm going to get to that story.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a personal story. My dad had a call like that. But yeah, another type of imposter scam. And guess what's next? Grandparent scams. So again, this is a type of imposter scam, but we specifically talk about the grandparent scam because it's so common. I will tell my personal experience with this. I was visiting my dad in Florida. I'm in the other room, and I hear his side of a phone call. And I rush into the room because it sounds off. And I hear him say, "Daniel?" He gives up his grandson's name in the call, doesn't even realize he did it. "Oh, yeah, Daniel, I was in an accident, I need to blah, 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 blah." Scares the heck out of him. I grab the phone, and I pretend that I say, "Begin trace now." I pretend to be a cop or something, and, they hang up. I knew it was a scam, but we had to video call my nephew just to be sure, which we did, and he was able to talk to his grandpa and let him know it was a scam. But they will call, create a sense of urgency. "Hey, grandpa, hey, grandma," and how quickly that grandma or grandpa will give up the name and become emotionally invested in this crisis that their grandchild is going through. And one of the things, they'll a lot of times, "Oh, it's a car accident. I need money for attorney fee or for bail or for, paying off damages to somebody. It's a dangerous situation. Hey, grandma, they're holding me. They won't let me go until I pay. These are scary people," that type of thing. And they'll always throw in, "Don't tell mom and dad, keep it secret." But that's a very common one where people are just calling, random numbers and trying to trick them into sending money based on that attachment to their grandchildren. You always want to help your grandchildren, right? But a lot of times it's a scam. So if you didn't initiate that call, you have to question who's really calling you. And now, with AI and the ability to replicate somebody's voice based on a few short phrases, it could even sound like your grandchild. So that's the scary thing. If you, as a grandparent, have a Facebook page and you're linked to family members who maybe have short videos, you know, they could pick up a voice pattern from one of your family members and call you as that person. So even if you think you recognize the voice, what a lot of families will do is have a password, a family password. So if you truly had to call a family member and say, hey, you know, I need $200, I need $500 for this or that or the other thing, can you wire it to me? Okay, what's the password? What's the family password, right? But the general thing is hang up. Call the number you know is that person separately, reach out to them, reach out to their siblings, you know, make sure it's legit before you ever take any drastic measures to send somebody money. That's the main thing. So the specific about, what was it?
Not usually it's, I got in a really bad car accident.
Yeah.
I need bail. Please don't tell my parents.
Yep.
So there's, you know, embarrassment, there's emergency, so they're playing on all of your feelings.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why a lot of these things go unreported. You know, even after people fall for them, they tend to go unreported. So the next is a romance scam. And this has become very popular with online dating. You know, there's people who just build fake profiles. They steal photographs of real people in the military or in the police, and they enter into long-term, it's a long con, the romance scam. They enter into a long-term virtual relationship through texts, some phone calls. They'll say, oh, I'm overseas, I'm with the military, I'm on assignment. But eventually they start asking for money. And they could wait 6 months. They could wait 8 months before that. And by then, somebody's really emotionally invested. Somebody who's been lonely for years, or divorced or widowed for years, prays right into this. And they have playbooks. These scammers have a playbook on how to do this. They're trained in it. And they're doing it all day long, sometimes to multiple people. And the thing about the romance scam is the sheer amounts of money. It's not the biggest scam in terms of total amount lost, but the amount lost per individual can be astronomical. We're talking people losing their entire life savings, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 to a romance scam. And that's why it's also called pig butchering, because pig butchering. They fatten them up emotionally for months and months and months. This promise of a long-term relationship when they return from their overseas assignment. And, you know, they get very emotionally invested, and then suddenly there's a need for a big chunk of cash to help them get out of a jam before they return. And next thing you know, they're wiped out. So the things to look out for that, on dating websites and social media, there's a lot of fake profiles. You can reverse image search people's photos to see if that photo is being used in multiple profiles or multiple sites. That's a red flag. There's emotional manipulation, deep emotional conversations, gaining the victim's trust. That's the early stages, long before money is brought up. Tends to be the perfect profile, attractive, successful, loving individual, using stolen or fake photos. And they also incorporate some isolation tactics, isolate the victim from friends and family, convincing them that they are the one or that their love is unique. So if you're lonely enough, you can be vulnerable to something like that, for sure. Any questions? Anybody never hear of the romance scam? No? So now we'll get into the phishing attempts. So phishing, have you heard of phishing with a PH?
It's a rock group.
It's a rock group. That's right. So phishing with the PH is a rock group, but it's also fake emails, fake texts, fake websites. So these are the attempts to get you to respond to an email. Most common in text, you get fake alerts about packages that need confirmation to be delivered, things like that. Those happen on text all the time. Fake emails can come from, a bank, pretending to be your bank, pretending to be the government. And really what you can take with you is this printout gives you some examples of phishing emails and some of the things to look for, some of the warning signs we have highlighted on the last page of this packet. So on your way out, take this with you. It used to be there'd be a lot of typos and things like that, but with AI, that's less and less true. It's really looking at URL addresses, looking at the detail behind a link, and this will guide you on how to do that when you hover over a link or you right-click to see where it's truly going. Is it really going to Amazon.com, or is it going to Amazon.co.tc. somewhere else?
But some of them are really convincing.
Sure.
I've gotten it twice now. It's a fake text that says, you have unpaid tolls. Click here to pay.
I've got that too.
Well, I haven't-
Easy Pass.
Yeah, no, and I thought, well, I haven't driven to,
Yes.
I knew, but
I
it could.
I used to.
Yeah, but it kind of, I paused for a second, I was like,
The Easy Pass one, just about 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Yes.
everybody I know got that. CC mentioned it. She sent an email about it. I got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. Everybody in this room in the last month has gotten the fake Easy Pass text.
Since my daughter drives on my Easy Pass, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. You thought about it for a second. We all thought about it a second. And that's the main thing. Think about it 3 seconds, and 2 of those seconds question it. And that's true with everything. But it's amazing. None of us fell for that. Every one of us got it. But how many people need to fall for that for them to be successful? Not many, less than 1%. If they got it to all of us in the same month. It's amazing just how targeted we are as a society with these criminals. And a lot of times these people they're overseas. A lot of times the people doing the scamming are victims themselves. They're being held. Their passports are taken away from them. They're forced to work in these, office buildings where they're being held in places like Myanmar and China. And it's kind of tragic. So you never know who you're dealing with. You never know if the scammer who's scamming you is even benefiting. A lot of times the ones in India, they're just working for it's a part-time job. They're making a menial income, but the money they're raising is really for the criminals who are running the enterprise. So it's not always the person who's pulling off the scam is usually not benefiting the most from it. It's astonishing. Where were we? Phishing. Okay, so just go through the fake emails, texts, deceptive communications that mimic legitimate sources. You'll quickly, if you do fall into one of these phishing links or emails, the red flag, they immediately start looking for that personal information and just go back, hey, did I initiate this? Or was this an email I got? Or was this a text I got? Or was this a phone call? They start asking for that personal information. It's time to slow down and say, let me go online and find the real phone number for UPS and see what's going on. Let me go online, find the real website for my bank, and see what's going on. Look up the real information for this company or organization before you start entering that personal information. That's an important step to take. Again, we've seen this in a lot of the scams, urgency or threat tactics. Immediate action is required to avoid additional fines, imprisonment, or whatnot, right? We see that a lot. Spoofed sender addresses, email addresses manipulated to appear as if from a legitimate source. So again, if you take this printout, there are ways to verify where these URL links truly go before you click on them to see if they look suspicious. Okay, next we have charity scams.
That's terrible.
Are you a trusting person? Do you like charity?
Well, I give to some charity.
Save the puppies and the babies and all the good things, not the puppies. Okay. There's a lot of fake charities. And they're going to use high-pressure tactics, emotional manipulation, unsolicited contact. So even stuff you're getting in the mail, you got to be careful with the charities. Impersonating well-known charities, so a similar name or just taking some of their materials in terms of the cause and changing the name, fake websites or donation forms, requests for cash or gift cards. They want you to buy gift cards and donate them, things like that. So there's a couple of resources that we give you in this handout. There's something called Charity Watch. It's a website where you can research charities and see just how much of their fundraising goes to the cause or goes to fundraising. So even some legitimate charities are questionable at best in terms of how much of the money goes to the cause. So I recommend for charities a website called Charity Watch. It's a nonprofit itself that kind of ranks a charity's financials.
Is that written down there?
Yes, it's in this packet. You can take it with you. Absolutely. Any questions? No?
Well, the other, go ahead.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
you know, how do you know, even though a charity on there says it's legitimate,
Yeah.
how do you know you're sending it to the right place? Somebody could put their name in a different address.
Sure.
You know, do they also tell where the name, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they will have a link to the actual websites for the legitimate charity, and that's, I mean, it goes back to who, did I initiate this contact, or did I get this in the mail? Who's your favorite charity, Elena?
My favorite charity?
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite because I give to so many.
All right, pick one. Just, what's a charity you would trust to give money to?
Well, it's local.
Okay.
You know, the Humane Society.
Okay, Humane Society.
Hospice.
And hospice,
I
okay.
give to them, but I know that they're.
You know, right. You probably have their address from giving in the past, but you're not, unsafe from being tricked into thinking you're giving to them. As a popular local charity, which the scammers are going to watch this on BCTV and say, oh, hospice, okay. Oh, Humane Society, okay.
When I get things from American Red Cross, I'm never quite sure,
Yeah.
Well, where's this one based? Is it going to the right place? Even though it says Barry, Vermont.
Yeah. So, we could be targeted as a community that's giving with a local mailer that purports to be from hospice, from Brattleboro Area Hospice, or from the Windham County Humane Society. And it could have nefarious information, that mailing. It could have a fake website. It could have a bad return address. It could have a bad phone number to get you to call. And then they're like, oh, it looks like your computer might be hacked. Can we, you never know where that phone call will go. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. So you always want to verify. Go on the internet, go on the actual charity's website, and make sure the address is matched and everything looks good before you give. Yeah, even your trusted local charities could be targeted. We've been lucky as a bank. Our customers haven't been tricked much into thinking, by a fake Brattleboro savings rep, but I do know a local bank has been targeted heavily with that, and they got a red alert on the top of their homepage every time you go there for the last 6 months that they've been targeted. Their customers are specifically being targeted. People are texting, calling them, pretending to be that small bank, also a small bank. So a small local charity is not outside the possibility of being targeted to victimize the people who want to actually give to them in the area. Yeah.
From the scams you're seeing, do more of them tend to be online with the fake charities? I was thinking of one of my kids actually got really upset on social media. They were tricked, and I'm pretty sure it was a fake one, where someone reached out to them and said that they're suffering from the war and they need donations for their family because And I said, I don't think that this is real. But my daughter was really upset about it and felt guilty. I said, I think that's some scammer reaching out to people. Because it was just too informal. And
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, what are they doing there? They're playing on emotions right away.
it does. It really works
Yeah,
too.
yeah, absolutely. So we only have a few more categories left. So this category is, I talked about the pig butchering or romance scam being the largest in terms of dollar amounts per single victim. This scam, sometimes it's just $40 per victim, but it is the largest category overall in total amount scam because so many people across all age ranges are falling for it. But it's online shopping fraud. There's all kinds of deals, too good to be true, out there on Instagram and Facebook. There's all kinds of fake shopping websites, and people are falling for it. So fake websites, too good to be true deals, unsecured payment methods are going to be found in these websites, unrealistic shipping claims, fake reviews, no contact information, and people are getting counterfeit products. So a lot of this goes on, particularly went on around the holidays. That's one thing to look out for. You know, I mean, I hate to recommend the largest corporations to do your shopping online, but you do have to be careful. If you don't recognize the website, if you're seeing an ad on Facebook or Instagram or just in a feed, it's risky. You click that link, you don't know where you go. We see a lot of debit card claims coming through the bank on these types of things, and they're for small amounts, $100, $200. Hey, I never got this, or they sent something else, or they signed me up for a subscription after I thought I was just buying this thing. And they're difficult claims for us to process, and the companies are impossible to contact and impossible to deal with. So that's one of the largest fraud areas is the online shopping. Kind of related to that is when you're trying to sell online as a seller or a buyer of, person to person, let's call it, like a Craigslist or a Facebook marketplace. You have to be really careful in that world because a lot of times people will say, hey, I'll buy that, I'll get you a bank check, and they'll give you a fake check. Or they'll offer to overpay. They'll say, well, my company wants me to put a down payment on your apartment for my contract work, but they can only issue checks in $5,000 increments. And then they'll send this, $10,000 check and say, oh, can you just wire me back the excess $4,000? And by the time that excess $4,000 is wired back, the check bounces. It was a scam. That's just one example of the kind of person-to-person scams that go on through Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. But it happens when people are selling boats, cars, RVs, guitars, whatever. It can happen in that world. And that's why a lot of police departments have set up like a safe meeting spot for meeting an online seller within the police department parking lots where you can make the exchange of the cash for the goods in a safe environment. So that's something to consider if you're ever buying directly from an individual online. Okay, this is my last topic, and then we can, I know there's a lot more I didn't cover, but the other one is fake apartment or job listings. So we see this, a lot of the immigrants who've recently tried to settle in the area, they've been falling for the job listing scam where it's not a job. They're just selling a course, and they're trying to trick people into saying, oh yeah, you have this job, but you need to complete this $300 training course and buy these $300 worth of books first. But there was never a job. It's just a con. And apartment listings, same things. We need you to do an application process for this apartment. It's $75. You go through it, you find out there's no apartment. You just lost $75. So sometimes it's small time like that, and sometimes it's, hey,
People do that.
Greed. Yeah, they're not, you're too trusting? Is that it?
I don't want them to be naughty people.
I know, me neither,
I
but
always say if they could use their brains to do this, but they could use it to do good, you can imagine how much better this world would be, right? That's the sad part.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good people we see out there in the online community who are fighting these guys, these scammers, and they do a lot of good work in their own free time. They call them scam baiters. They're fun to watch on YouTube, but they try to shut down some of these call centers in India and whatnot. There are good people out there fighting this stuff. Any questions? This was my last topic.
Well,
Yes.
This didn't get covered, but it's probably not a scam. But everybody wants access to your account now, direct access to your account to pay
Sure.
for things.
Yeah.
I do it actually with 2 companies.
Yeah.
My Sirius Radio and my Easy Pass,
Yeah.
which I hardly ever use. And I mean, every time I get the bill every 6 months from the one credit card company that I do that on, I kind of shudder to see if everything went all right. But everybody wants to have you do direct now, that we'll take it right out of your account. I really have a hard feeling about that. And also, even when you're getting gas, now I used to go to Irving.
Yeah.
And I had an Irving rewards card. Okay, that was fine.
Yeah.
And I went to use it once, so this is probably the end of last summer, and I scanned the rewards card before I scanned my credit card, and the reward card didn't scan, and I had to push it in again, and then I did my credit card. Well, as it turned out, later on that month, when I got notification of my current status with my rewards, it showed that I had not, somebody had tried to use my account, that's what it was. They thought I had the debit account.
Yeah.
So when I did that, and I scanned my Irving reward card, and I had to put it in 2 times, somebody was evidently fishing for that account somewhere around there. They can do that with credit cards.
Yeah, well, that's,
A lot of credit card codes.
there's a lot of,
Anyway, so I was glad I didn't have that, but now I can't even access my Irving card anymore. And when I finally did have 50, I think it was 50 gallons when you get 10 cents off, and all of a sudden I looked and I had no points left. So that person used my points.
Oh,
And I said,
wow.
"That's it, I'm not using that anymore." So there's nothing simple anymore. Right.
there's no limit to it's impossible in a 30-minute seminar to cover it all.
No, I'll just go in and pay cash just so they don't have access to my credit card also. But what they did was use my points anyway.
You just educated us. I didn't even think about that, but I can see how they want to steal points. You think of, you got Marriott
Honestly.
points, you got these points,
Yeah.
Hannaford points, you got, every place, yeah.
Things you don't even think
Yeah.
Yeah.
scammers.
Wow.
I have a couple things for you
The
guys.
thing is, just to
Yep.
finish that, I've often thought, well, they want you to have that debit card so that they don't have to pay the credit card fee, I think, so they can get it right out of your account.
Yeah.
But you can't go in there, I can go pay cash, but they won't give you the cheaper price for cash even.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I said,
Right.
it's cash,
Yeah, they want the information.
I mean, they won't go broke with me not going there, but it's just another one of those things that everybody wants access to your
Yeah, you have to, even if it's not a scam, there's a lot of, things that make you go through just way too many hoops than it's worth, So that's a good example of that for sure. I have a couple things, resources for you guys that I just want to highlight. So if you take one of these, this is like a good list of resources for if you are scammed or if you know somebody being scammed. FTC, we have FBI on here. We got the Vermont Attorney General Elder Protection Initiative, and we got Vermont Adult Protective Services and Department of Justice Elder Fraud Hotline. You can take one of those. I do want to highlight this resource, which is the AARP's Fraud Watch Network. Google that. If you're already an AARP member, make sure you follow their Fraud Watch Network. They're every day dozens of people are sharing fraud stories there, and it's just a good go-to one-stop resource for all the different types of scams that are out there. They're very on top of the latest scams, so I want to highlight that one. Take this with you.
How long is the list?
It doesn't end. I mean, every day people add 5, 10 more stories. There's individuals can post their stories there, so every day there's new stories. But it's a really good resource, and they really keep on top of the latest scams to keep people informed. So I will highlight that one. AARP Fraud Watch Network, definitely something you want to subscribe to. Any other questions?
So question, have either of you or anybody that you know been victimized by a fraud scam?
By what?
A fraud scam?
You know anybody scammed?
No.
No? Well, you're lucky. You're one of the few. Well, we all got the Easy Pass text.
Right, yeah. Can you share the story about the, I know we have a program next week on cryptocurrency, and it's not so much about cryptocurrency,
Yep.
but the couple that was invited to share,
Yes.
participate
Okay.
in an investment.
So this is a variation of the imposter scam, and one of the people in the couple was involved in a let's just call it a Trump adjacent chat room, and one of the members of the chat room direct messaged her, and it was Elon Musk. And Elon Musk invited her to join his investment club and become a part, and they started communicating. He brought the conversation over to like a Signal app or a messaging app. They continued to talk, and he wanted to help them invest in cryptocurrency, which they took him up on. So they started, they thought they were opening an account on something called Kraken, which is a legitimate, believe it or not, a legitimate cryptocurrency exchange. I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but it is a legitimate cryptocurrency exchange. But they weren't depositing money to their own account. They were depositing money to who knows whose account over at Kraken. So that money was gone. And then the next thing, part of that scam was to ask them to deposit currency into a crypto ATM, which, now their crypto ATMs, Coinstar is now a crypto ATM. Coinstar allows you to invest in crypto right at their machine. So we've seen customers who fall for these kind of scams, this imposter scam. She was emotionally invested with Elon Musk, thought she was going to get rich, and it was all a con. And,
Is it really Elon Musk?
no, of course not.
She didn't see him? I thought you said.
No, it was somebody using his name with an online persona in this chat room,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she's looking at a picture of him on a Signal app, on a text messaging app, and she thinks she's talking to Elon Musk. But why would Elon Musk just invite some random person from Vermont to join his investment club? So it was unfortunate, but yeah, that type of impersonation scam, again, it preys on the emotional investment, and finding like-minded people in a place like a Trump message room, and just playing to their emotions about whatever's going on in society, and just getting them all.
Well, that's greed too, because
Yeah,
they're gonna-
greed's the theme here.
Well, and they always say if it's too good to be true, you should.
They're preying on your emotional, need for success or wealth and individual greed. Yeah, they understand that for sure. Yeah.
I have a story to share. I've been in banking for a lot of years, and my sister, who is older than I am, got an online boyfriend. And this went on for 2.5 years. It started out, he was local. Then, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I moved to West Virginia. He was an engineer working in Norway. And I said, Laurie, I tell you these stories from my work every single day when I talk to you. It's like, really? And she said, he makes me laugh. And I'm like, of course, the one fraudster in the whole entire universe who gets your sense of humor and makes you laugh. I'm like, doesn't it figure? And so, I kept telling her, I said, I support your relationship, but I will tell you, the first time one penny is discussed, just one penny, you are done. And so for 2.5 years, I monitored my sister and her relationship, and eventually he was never available to meet her, even though, you know, she asked on several occasions, and she finally said, that's not going to be the relationship for the rest of my life. And I'm like, oh, no kidding. But it was her emotional, you know, well-being that she was really thinking she was taking care of. And I was like, not my sister. So there are so many emotional aspects that people get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
It's really that emotional piece that I would say stay away from gift cards.
Yeah.
If anybody asks you to buy a gift card for them, do not do it unless you know them face to face and they're your neighbor, or you know that they live in Brattleboro.
Yeah, the top ways the scammers want that money sent to them, it starts with gift cards. That's the easiest for them to turn, you know, untraceably to some other part of the world pretty quickly. Cryptocurrency they like, a little more traceable. But they also like cash.
Yeah.
If somebody's asking you to mail a box of cash somewhere, you got a problem. You're not, you know, you got a real problem. It's probably a scam. And some stuff still goes on with wire transfers as well. You know, so it's a lot of ways to get you.
We had a situation where a customer was contacted and they were told that somebody in Texas was using their social security number, and the FBI was monitoring the situation, and they were getting ready to complete an arrest. However, in order to ensure that your money is safe, the FBI would like to hold it for you until we complete the investigation and the arrest. So they were told that somebody from the bank was in on it, so do not talk to the bank. So when I had a conversation with this person, I said, Joe, you're looking at me face to face. You know who I am. You know how to find me. This person that you're talking to over the telephone, you don't even know who they are. You have no way to validate who they are, who to authenticate. Who are you going to choose to believe? This person on the telephone who's telling you to do something with your money, or Brattleboro Savings and Loan, who you know is on Main Street. You can walk in here any day and talk to any single person who will meet with you and you know, investigate. If you have concerns that really there's a bank employee involved in this situation, there are ways to report that and investigate it. And sadly, this person, for quite a bit of money, did actually go to Staples and package up boxes of cash and told Staples it was books, it was shoes, it was slippers, any excuse, and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars got mailed from Staples to the fraudsters. And each recipient was different, so it was being sent to different states. It was being sent to different individuals. So all of these are clues where for us, as soon as we hear that, it's like, oh, there's the flag. You know, if you're being told to send it to Susie and then to John in a different state, step back and come in and talk to us, because you know, we see it every single day, and we know what's common, And, you know who we are. So we really are the trusted source.
That's a good point. Yeah, thank you for that.
If I could ask, what are some of the things that you're afraid of that, you're afraid you might not recognize it? Is it the technology scams more than, or phone calls?
Yeah, what are you guys seeing out there? You getting a lot of weird phone calls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't answer them.
You don't answer the phone.
Even my cell phone.
Yeah.
I gotta get that phone.
Yeah, that was the
It's just-
Easy Pass one. That was
Yeah.
the first time I got a text.
Yeah.
But you didn't fall for it.
I showed my husband.
You showed your husband. Well, that's not falling for it. You know.
It's funny when one time, and this was a couple of years ago, I look at the caller ID, thank goodness, my landline, and I was calling myself. My name and my phone number was calling my own number. And I said,
Really?
wow, they were pretty stupid. They never took that one.
Yeah,
So you have
yeah.
to be careful because it may show somebody's number.
Exactly.
You know.
They can spoof any number.
No.
Yeah.
But it's helpful when you've heard of something, because then you're more likely to recognize it. I remember when I was new at the bank, I got an email and I'd read about it, so I knew. But it claimed to be from a coworker that I didn't really know, and it said, I'm in a meeting, can you run out and buy, I'm really busy, can you go buy me some gift cards? And I was like, I know what this is. But I could see if you were really just starting out your job and you didn't have a lot of experience, you might think, oh, okay, I better do that. And you're not thinking. That's how they manage to get some people that way.
It's sad, I pretty much don't trust anything at this point, until, and
Yeah.
I figure it this way, delete, and if it's that important, they're gonna get in touch with me some other way.
Yeah.
Kind of, I report it, messages, I report as junk all the time. Like, nope.
I haven't had someone, this is the old school one that you probably heard of. Somebody drove by my house in a pickup truck one summer. I was working in my garden, and he said, oh, I'm resealing driveways, and I wonder, it's like, you need to reseal your driveway? And I remember seeing that when they asked me what paid in cash, and then they just put like oil or something. But all these different scams.
Yeah.
Just keeps getting worse. John, thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Hopefully you learned
I appreciate it.
and take
Yeah.
away with the things on the paper, and they're inventing new ones as we sit here right now. So
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
fortunate.
So thank you guys for coming. Help yourself to a parting cookie, if you will.
Yes, please.